public and private funds. You have to allow citizens to engage. And this is in reference to the St. James Hotel, where a Senate is where 25% of our sales and lodging tax would help go towards the St. James Hotel. So I'm gonna bring Attorney Gamble. I'll let him give us an overview, and after that, we will bring up anyone who is speak for the 772, and also anyone who may be opposing. Once you come forward, if you would, state your name and address, please, for the matter of the record.
Yeah, well, at the last meeting in March, it was brought up that in order for the St. James project to move forward, the lender was requiring for a tax rebate, which is very often done in these cases, so that the developer would have the funds to pay back. They raised the loan up to about $1 million, but that requires, and they wanted to close by the end of March, but that requires a notice to the public, so we couldn't do it then. And so the public notification went out, a legal notice in the Selma Times Journal a week ago, and the notice to the public, recites that public benefits to be sought by the tax rebate, developing a historical lodging destination for residents, increasing employment opportunities, creating jobs in the city, promoting the location of new commercial enterprises, increasing the city's tax base, resulting in additional tax revenues, improving the aesthetic quality of commercial development, improving general quality of life for city residents. And so this is the public hearing, and then the council will vote. The public hearing is just to hear any comments anybody wants to make. And once the city council opens at 5, they'll need to vote.
Okay. All right, at this time, do we have anyone in favor of it? Anyone in favor of it? All right, do we have any opposition? Any opposition? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward. Yes, ma'am. If you would, state your name and
Sylvia Smith. Okay. I am not against the buyers of the St. James, I want you to know that, but I am for the city of Selma. And if the city of Selma doesn't survive, I don't see how that would be good for the St. James. But I want to go through a little bit of what I've observed and sort of kept track of since we were first renovating the St. James back in the 90s. And I gave y'all some papers. We had, back at that time in the 90s when they were raising funds, they said it was going to return to the community an overwhelming return by promoting tourism, generating taxes, stimulating businesses, and on and on and on. But I don't know that a whole lot of that happened in the 20 years. But what I do know is we've sunk a lot of money. In accounting, there's a term called sunk cost. That means the money's gone, you're not getting it back. It is what it is. So it was about $6 million to renovate and add on to the St. James. Then they purchased the adjacent building, and I'm thinking it was $250,000. I didn't find my paper to make sure, but that's from memory. Then when the 3 buildings collapsed that are where the Phoenix Park is now, that was $200,000 to clean that up. There was $16,900 spent to purchase the McDonald building, which was then one of the ones that collapsed later, and I'm not sure how much was spent to turn that into Phoenix Park. Spent an appraisal fee of $12,000 to find out that it was worth $900,000 supposedly. Paid $30,000 to settle with Janae on one of the sales attempts. So that comes to $6.5 million that's gone. I don't know how much more for attorneys and utilities and insurance and operating losses, but, you know, probably another $1 million. So that's all gone, okay? So I'm saying, what is the city gonna get now? All right, they're getting $100,000 less whatever fees come out of that, which I'm guessing out of that 100, there probably wasn't very much went to the city bank account. As the people in charge of the property, I would assume you all got copies of the closing statement that shows that. If you didn't, you should ask for it. Now, what is the buyer getting? The buyer's getting a property that appraised for $900,000. They're getting passed along to them a USDA grant of $125,000 from the city. They've already said they qualify for the Alabama rehabilitation credits, which are 25%, and it's a refundable credit. Even if you don't make any money, they write you a check back. The federal rehabilitation credit is 20%, and they're in the only census tract in Selma, which is an opportunity zone, so that may work to their favor, I'm not sure. So I don't see how they really need an incentive, another incentive to go forward and make this work. They're obviously very good businessmen to have negotiated the deal that they did already. So you all need to be the business people for the city of Selma and stand up for the people of Selma. And I put on here and highlighted in orange just a little bit about the purchase price and so forth. It says the purchase price is $400,000, $100,000 to be paid at closing. The balance, a note to the city of Selma, but the note will be reduced for dollar by all hard costs invested in the project by the corporation within 12 months. So in other words, don't be looking to spend that other $300,000 because don't believe it's coming. Now, behind that, I made a few pages out of the audit report from 9/30/17, which fortunately was on the website, and I appreciate that. I've been, you know, crazy person going over it, like I don't know that a lot of people would do, but it showed at 9/30/17 that the St. James Hotel project had a deficit fund balance of $467,134, and that the city's intent was to appropriate funds from the general fund in order to reduce the deficit. So where it was being carried on your books as a receivable, now it's going to have to go through and be expensed and reduce your fund. And that was just at 9/30/17, so however much more you lost since then will also hit your general fund, which is going to be a pretty nasty hit. And I want to point out the last page that I'm giving you is showing the debt service requirements. Right now, you already have principal and interest that's over $2 million a year, and it's just going to go up when, I think it's the pension refinancing bonds, when you start paying some principal instead of only interest. You're going to have about $2.5 million a year of bond and principal and interest payments. So where is that going to come from? I mean, if you keep giving away a little bit here and a little bit there, it's kind of like when you have water drip. It doesn't seem like much when it's just a drip, drip, drip. And then your water bill comes at the end of the month, and boy, are you surprised. So when you give away 25% of this, it might not seem like much, but I say the city needs it more. The city needs it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Y'all gonna,
Before you leave, before you leave.
Did you have a question?
We're doing for, yes, ma'am. Thank you for your presentation, and, you know, I came in at the end of it this morning, and I'm assuming by what I just heard, you are against.
Yes.
And you know, on last night I asked the attorney, did I miss, and obviously I did, did I miss her saying 25% of the hotel tax? the lodging tax, and 25% of our sales tax. And I was okay in the beginning, sort of, kind of, but not really, with the sales tax part of it, because, you know, everybody was ready for the St. James to be a done deal. And then reading through the documents, the written word is always better. The written word is always better. 25% more of something else, 25% more now of all my hotel fees. It's a bit much. So,
Well, none of the other hotels, none of the other businesses get that break. I just think it's also a matter of fairness to them.
it is, and we have had businesses here forever. They've been downtown forever, and they have not had that sort of help. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know what else to call it, for lack of a better word. They have not had that benefit of the city of Selma. And we up here, we keep crying, why are we doing this financially, and why are we doing this financially? Yet we keep on considering what you said, and little by little we'll look up and we won't have anything. And, you know, I've always said the best way to lower a building is to board it up and leave it to the elements. Just board it up and leave it to the elements, and that's kind of what happens here, and that's kind of why we have to sell it. Part of why we have to sell it for what we're selling it for. But you know, every time I look around, it seems like there's something new, and that's just my opinion. So I want to thank you as a citizen for coming, and you have a vested interest. You're not speaking randomly, you're speaking from experience. You volunteered when our dear old St. James was threatened before.
I did laundry.
With doors, you did laundry and you scrubbed the floors. And we know because we saw you there, we saw Nancy, we saw volunteers, and so you're not speaking willy-nilly. I thank you for that and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Anyone else in state?
Should I respond to that just briefly? I realize this lady was not particularly in favor of this to start with, and she's covered a lot of things that have nothing to do with the hotel, like the budget and so forth, and gone through a
Can you
history.
use the microphone to turn it down?
Lord,
Can you use the microphone?
I don't know if it's on, is it?
It may be still. Councilman Johnson.
Hello?
Just,
You can talk all day.
yeah.
Like, you can see that.
I was just gonna say, I know this has a long history of not working out. And believe me, some of my money went into that $9 million too. Our law firm gave, the whole town came forward, we did everything we could. It was not managed properly, it didn't work. Then we went through numerous, I wasn't involved, but there was a sale to somebody for $100,000. We got sued, the city got sued because that didn't work. The food people came in, we worked with them for a year. It didn't work, they couldn't come up with the money. Now we have the project ready to go. We have a developer from Birmingham who's here to answer any questions, that is willing to put millions of dollars into this project. And it's already on the road to going. This is something that has got to happen, because to get to pay it back, the lenders have got to have the evidence that it can be paid back, and the 25% tax credit is part of that. So if you want to just stop where you are and cancel the whole thing, that's up to you. But otherwise, we need to go forward with this. Now, bear in mind that there's no taxes coming in now from it. There's no sales taxes, there's no lodging taxes. The insurance is going to be taken over by Mr. Lewis, the utilities by Mr. Lewis, all of which has been costing money to the city. So, you know, yeah, it's a sad history, but it's at the point now where it can work and have the best opportunity to be a profit for the city. So, it is disappointing what happened in the past, but this is essential to it going forward.
Councilwoman Benjamin, then we'll close it out.
I remained a little quiet throughout this whole process, not totally quiet, but a little quiet, because I always knew that the conversation would come back to a statement like, if you want to cancel it, you can cancel it. That's not it. Nobody wants to cancel it, but we don't want to give Selma, Alabama away in the process of it. And that is why I felt everything that the lady that you call the lady, Miss Sylvia Smith, was saying. I felt what she was saying. And I was, like I said, I was almost kind of sort of with this 25% sales tax. Okay, good. But come back, and you come back for, again, for 25% hotel tax. And it's always been my feeling that there's gonna be come back for more, come back for more, come back for more until the city of Selma is gone itself. And this is just my feelings. And y'all know I've shared it with you privately and publicly over and over again, and it just has not changed from that. My feelings have not changed from that. My feelings also have not changed from the fact that we need to sell our dear old St. James. We need to sell our dear old St. James, but sell it means you get something for the product. When you sell something, you get something for the product. And so I'm all for selling the St. James Hotel. Finally, if we can do that. But I'm just torn right here.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for letting me speak. Since I was the chair for actually many years for the hotel and the selling, and had gotten Wendy Blissett and was just not, well, originally, I was chair for a long time and then co-chair for a while. And I had worked to get Miss Wendy Blissett, and I'm sure that no one wants to share the part of the chair of being when we went through an almost sale. I'm certain that nobody wants to, and I'll certainly take that hit. But we have been trying to find and procure a good, viable buyer for this for a long time. At one point, it looked real good on paper that we had one who would be with the Choice Hotels Ascend collection. We even had the Choice Hotel Ascend man come and say that they were going to take it, and that looked like the best thing we could come with. I met with people from Wynn Properties. I met with all sorts of folks. Ms. Benjamin did too. Like Mr. Gamble, I have a private vested interest in the hotel beginning from 1995, and spent a lot of time there, spent a lot of money there, put a lot of people up there, had a lot of wingdings there, then worked with, of course, with the council on it. And also being somewhat familiar with historic properties, and certainly not as much as Ms. Smith is. She's on the Historic Preservation Society board, and has done a lot of work working tirelessly for some of our historic buildings. But when we have something that is the St. James, or like the St. James, it cannot be compared to anything else we do. I think that we all agree it's the bedrock, the jewel of the queen, of the crown, and the just the hallmark of welcoming people into Selma and the anchor of Water Avenue. So we've been saying that since I know most of us went into office, that the ones that came up here in 2008. And with that, and if anybody comes back again for something else, I think we deal with it then. And everybody has to consider and vote, as they say, I think it's the right thing to do. But this is a situation that is like no other. And it's not anything you can say what's in this situation when you talk about being fair and fair to business. Fair is something that happens out on Dallas Avenue in the fall, and they have rides and pipe rolls and stuff like that. The St. James is like nothing else. It's like no other. And Mr. Lewis, if you want to talk about fair and somebody not having any undue pressure on anything else, he has had to go through more hoops and more things in order to get this far than anybody in any other business. So when we look at things, And we do a lot of things that other people don't do, that we don't do for other people or other businesses, because we look at situations, we look at people, we look at what it means to the community and what it means to our city, or we should. We should do that in each situation. We can't compare. It's not always apples to apples, certainly not in a place like Selma. And should we have the opportunity to have such a project like this that's going to make such an impact, I would certainly be for that consideration again, because the impact of having a Hilton hotel in Selma, Alabama on Water Avenue that is in one of like 12 hotels in a little special historic hotel landmark book is golden. So thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity of making that.
Thank you. Before we close out the public hearing, do we have anyone else who would like to come forward? Do we have anyone else? All right, thank you. Council, once we close the public hearing, once we begin the meeting, we're going to have to vote on the resolution. I think, Ms. Harrison, you have a resolution?
Yeah, I can present that.
See how we got it.
She has the resolution, Mr. President.
Yes, she does. At this time, we're going to call this meeting to order. Councilwoman Jackson, if you would be so kind.
Bishop Chuck Jones, I just saw him come in.
Oh, that's fine, okay.
Bishop Jones, do you mind praying to start the meeting? If you let me use your mic.
Let us pray. Father, I just pray that you would send your Holy Spirit just to govern the affairs of our city. And that every member of the council would operate in the wisdom of God. And that, Lord, your purposes for our city would be accomplished. For, Lord, you have infinite wisdom in every arena, in every area. Lord, I just thank you and pray for a spirit of humility and wisdom and unity in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Johnson.
Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Bowie.
Present.
Councilman Boling.
Present.
Councilwoman Youngblood.
Here.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Present.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Here.
Councilman Randolph.
Here.
Councilman LaShaw.
Here.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Present.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
As stated before, we do have a quorum, so we can conduct the city business. The character trait of the month is determination, compulsion to accomplish right goals at the right time, regardless of the opposition. Council members, you have before you the April the 23rd agenda. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the April the 23rd agenda. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Bowling. Roll call.
President Bowie.
Yes.
Councilman Boling.
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman LaShaw.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right. The regular agenda was approved unanimously. Council members, you have in front of you the consent agenda that I emailed to you earlier today. We have 6 items on the consent agenda for your consideration. Consent item number 1, to approve resolution R-127-1819, allowing the city of Selma to grant a tax abatement, not including the educational tax, to Hicks Properties LLC. Consent item number 2, to approve 2 reserved parking space for KD, Briar, and Tom during the peak season and 1 reserved parking space after the peak season. Consent item number 3, to approve a film permit for Deaf or Bad Incorporation with the filming of the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Thursday, April 25th, 2019, Consent item number 4, to approve usage of the amphitheater grounds for the Bird First Class Early Learning Center for Friday, May 10, 2019, or May 17, 2019, as an alternate weather day. Consent item number 5, to approve usage of the Carmel Convention Center on Tuesday, May 21st, 2019, for the School of Discovery graduation. And consent item number 6, to approve council members acting in their official capacity shall receive any request confirmation by the close of business day on the day of request, barring an emergency. In the event an emergency, the council members shall receive the requested information by noon of the following day. At this time, council members, what's the pleasure of the council to place all 6 items on the consent agenda and move forward?
So moved,
We
Mr.
have a motion
President.
on the floor by Councilwoman Youngblood, second Councilman Johnson. Any further discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Bowie,
Yes.
Councilman Bowling,
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph,
Yes.
Councilman LaShaw.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, the consent agenda was approved unanimously. Council members, you have before you the April 9th minutes. Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions? Are there any corrections? At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the April 9th minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Johnson.
Second.
Have a second, Councilwoman Youngblood. Any further discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Bowie.
Yes.
Councilman Bowling.
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph, Councilman LaShaw.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes were approved. At this time, council members, do you have any announcement that you would like to make as it relates to the award? Councilman Shaw.
May the 9th, I will be having a ward meeting at the Plant Street Baptist Church at 6 o'clock. We're asking any of my colleagues to be available to please attend, be a part of distributing information to the citizens, and hear the concerns that is forthcoming from the 6th ward.
Okay?
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Councilman.
also, I just want to make mention that on the 22nd, Councilman Johnson and I attended a flag celebration and retirement ceremony. For anyone who has never seen that activities, it's just awesome. The flag at the R.B. Hudson Middle School had became tattered and torn. And the Boy Scout troops, 30 and 98 and American Legion Post 20 and 324, along with the Selma VFW, decided to go ahead and retire that flag, Old Glory. And the ceremony that took place, it was just mind-boggling. I mean, it was just awesome to hear the children sing that is the children of the middle school choir, sing the Star Spangled Banner and God Bless America. And just to be amongst veterans was a good feeling in and of itself. And I just want to thank all of those entities that retired Old Glory, and they did it in a decent and honorable way.
All right, thank you, Councilman Shaw. Councilwoman Youngblood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that on Oak Street, we have a little issue where we had the sinkhole before, and we are, I believe that we are, if not working on it now, it will be being worked on soon. So I just wanted to please ask everybody, I've tried to get the message out to the people in the area to not use Oak Street as a through street, just to keep it as traffic as possible on it until it is repaired. To keep it from getting worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Youngblood. Councilwoman Jackson, Councilwoman Thomas, and Councilwoman Benjamin, and Councilman Johnson.
I just want to let the public know that I'm tentatively scheduling our next cleanup for Ward 3 on June 1st. We're not going to clean up trash this time, but we're going to cut the right-of-ways, the city right-of-ways, and calling it lawnmowers and lemonade. And so we want to try to bring you a refreshing drink if you can just get out with the weed eaters and lawnmowers and assist us in ensuring that some of this grass is cut down.
Thank you. Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank the citizen and our out-of-town guests that came in last night to support. Selma University, was a college, has been here. Their Founders Day was 141 years in the city of Selma. And it was a great turnout, great speakers, and we want to keep this school open, and we want to keep striving for the best education of the people that needs to get it. Also, I want to say this to the citizens in Ward 7. This week is, it's a national cleanup, where we volunteer ourselves to go out in the parts of the city of Selma, which I will be teaming up with Mrs. Rubin, which she did Mentor, Alabama, Saturday. And this week, probably Saturday or Friday, we will be taking section in our area, downtown area, and certain other areas that are from Broad Street to L.A. Anderson, which we will be trying to clean up our community. And also, I would like to say to the citizens in Ward 7, I have not forgot about 10th Avenue. I have not forgot about Cresthaven and Crestwood. When the fundings are not there, this is my 3rd year, I promised them that when I got some more oilies that I will repair. I know they're calling me, they're talking about it, but we have to have the funds to repair that area. And we will be having a ward meeting the last weekend this month, on Monday or Tuesday. We have to get with the pastor to find out what day we can have the meeting. It will start at 5 o'clock at Ward Chapel, because we want to be talking about other things that we can do to help our community, and more people joining in to volunteer to help clean up our city.
Thank you, Councilwoman Thomas. Councilwoman Benjamin, and Councilman Johnson.
Councilman Johnson may have this one item in his, I don't know why you raised your hand, but I don't know if you're going to report on Lorenzo Harrison or not, the date, the cleanup date or not.
I'm still lost on it. You know more about it.
Okay, so let me just say what I know,
Okay,
and then you can check into it. So I did check back to find, last night I told y'all it was May 3rd or May 4th. So it's May 4th according to what I read. But also, Mr. Antonio Evans posted today that he had cleaned some graves over there. So you can check that out to see if he did them all, because actually he said the graves are clean.
Okay.
And I don't know what that means. And so if that does not mean that they're all clean, then the community effort is still on for March 4th to clean the Lorenzo Harrison, what's the official name? Memorial Garden on May 4th. And please join in. It's not just for Ward 8, it just sits in Ward 8. A lot of us have loved ones out there. I do. And so please join Joyce Bennett. She's the first person I saw to post about it. You can just message her on Facebook, I guess. I didn't see her phone number, but Joyce Bennett, if you would, I think she's a member of your social statements too. Also, I don't know if Councilwoman Thomas' hand is up about the cemetery.
I just wanted to say, Councilman Benjamin, at that time of that day, I would love to take part, because I have plenty of loved ones out there, but I will be out of town on that day. I will be at a convention.
We got you covered.
And I'll be there if I
We got you
can.
covered. I will make sure. You just tell me where to go. We'll have you covered.
Okay.
And also I'm going to, so we always have a spring project in Ward 4. So this spring it is Potholes No More in Ward 4. And so we're gonna, I have one person already going through Ward 4 to kind of do a marking for me for the potholes in Ward 4 that I can afford to pay for with royalties. And that particular person is going to give me an estimate. And then I'm looking, if you all know someone else that I can get an estimate from, please let me know who that person or who those people are that I can get an estimate from. So that's our spring piece for this spring potholes on Ward 4. We're working on those potholes ourselves. All right. Items from last night, Mr. President, that I said that I would announce Jazz on the Grass. The reminder for Jazz on the Grass is June 15th. That's Father's Day weekend, always Father's Day Saturday. Make sure you come out, bring your family, bring the big guy or the big guy figure, and just enjoy some relaxing music, some good neighbors, some wholesome fun, and beverages, for those of you who like beverages. And also, our first kickoff is 10 o'clock praise, and Councilman Randolph, he can announce that. That's his item. He can announce that, and so I guess he'll have his hand up to announce that part right there. And lastly, there was one event from last night that I wanted to. Oh, somebody already announced it. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Benson. Oh, go ahead.
You had mentioned the cleanup at the cemetery. I saw some guys cutting that baseball field at Selma High School today. It wasn't city employees. Anybody know who those guys were?
There's a lot of volunteers.
Volunteers.
Yeah, a lot of volunteers going around Selma. Yeah.
They had too much equipment out there to be volunteers. Believe me.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Believe it or not, there is a lot of volunteers out doing some work, and I really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure we all do. Even as the volunteers doing so, there's a gentleman, I don't know his name, but I'll try and get his name along with some kids. I think the baseball team, when I did a lot of paint work out to the stadium. I asked Terry to give me the information, but he never gave me the information in time enough for me to be able to report it. But I want to thank them for what they did out to the stadium. They did a lot of paint work that is badly needed. And there is a lot of volunteer work going on. I have a young man cut the park in front of the swimming pool in the playground in East Selma. But of course, he did it at a real low, and we got that taken care of. I want to thank him for that. Also, I want to thank the citizens of Ward 8 for coming out on last week, the meeting we had. It was an awesome meeting. Thank Councilman Short for attending. The mayor, Chief Stevens, Chief Collier, President Bowie. I hope I'm missing nobody, but Reverend Leo Strong, Reverend Winston Williams, and some others. But it was an awesome meeting. It was a good meeting. It was a productive meeting. Let the citizens of Ward 8 understand why a lot of things haven't been getting done, that need to get done. But just pray the Lord that we can help get something done as soon as possible, because we just have a standstill. And right now, all this talking and not getting it done, it just really bothers me. But anyway, Mr. President, I really appreciate it, but that's it for now this moment.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Councilwoman.
I need to say this because this is very important. President Bowie, first I want to thank you for getting someone to hear our voice in Ward 7 with our school. Today, Captain King met with the principal, Mrs. Brown, Dr. Brown, and me and a detective. You know, Ward 7 is not going to accept vandalism, breaking in our schools and taking our students' laptops. You hit us one time last week, and then you come back and hit us again Friday night. We are requesting that we ask that they push hard to get these people, because these kids were in testing this week. And it's sad that they say that you take the laptops when the school was in the middle of testing, where they had to share what little laptops they had. So we're voicing that Knox Elementary School, we're tired of them vandalism, stealing, busting the windows out, which Dr. Brown has been very truthful to the parents and the children at Knox School to keep the school survive and open. It's been hit very hard for the last 4 weeks entering Knox School, and we are asking whatever victim that goes in there that the judge would be hard on them, because it's hard right now for the school getting everything that they need, and when you go in there and take these kids' education supplies and things away from them, it hurts the community, and it hurts the parents, and it hurts the school. And we want them to honor our Knox School and respect Knox School. So I just want people to know, the parents, that we are pushing hard for them going into Knox School, Birmingham High School.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Thomas. Any other announcements, comments? Okay, prior to going to the citizens' reports, I'm on.
Oh, okay. Yes, 10 o'clock parade's gonna be, the first Friday, June 7th, at 10 o'clock p.m. at night, in front of Home Time Fashion. There's a gospel singing and a big cookout. We want to invite everyone to come out. I think this, I don't know how many years, was it 5th year? This is the 5th year, and we just trying to show our young people in Selma that you can praise God at anywhere and at any time. I know a lot of people saying, well, I ain't coming out of my house at 10 o'clock. But we make sure, if you stay by yourself, we make sure you get home safely. We don't let you ladies go home by themselves and stuff like that. We make sure somebody escorts you home. And we want to invite everybody to come and participate.
All right, thank you, Councilman Randolph. Now, Councilwoman Jackson. No. You go to announce.
Okay, I got an announcement from the Everlight Mission annual community festival. Gonna be May 31st, and it starts at 11 o'clock a.m. at the Center of Hope, 1107 Griffith Avenue. It'll be fun, food, music, and giveaways. They give away bikes, fans, and they also paying utility bills. So it's going to be May 31st at Evernight Mission Center of Hope on the side of Church Chicken. Again, they're giving away bikes, fans, and paying utility bills for needed people. If you make a lot of money like little Carl over there, don't go down there. Amen.
Hustle's real, brother. The hustle's real.
Yeah. So, because they want to give help people that utility bills that need help. You know, some people go down there and know they don't need help.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah.
That was Alabama Team Challenge at Selma High today, Councilman.
Oh, that's what that was?
Yeah.
Because I knew they wasn't city employees. I was like,
Alabama Teen Challenge?
Yes.
Do we need to send them a thank you?
yeah,
Yeah. Can
they
we-
did a professional job.
They did. I know you're happy. I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
We share that ward space.
I'm gonna send them over more seats.
Right. I'll give them that.
All right, now to the citizens' report. Mrs. Popaz from the,
I hate to interrupt you, but I don't see on the agenda passing this resolution.
it's gonna go up on the mayor's report. As soon as we get to the citizens.
And well, I just want to say, Mr. Lewis is here to answer questions. He's been here all day, but he's got to get back to work.
Okay, well, we just only have one citizen. Please come forward.
Like I said, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
We are here from Freeman Drive, Taylor Drive, and Brook Lane. And we have the resident here, which you understand. We have Mr. Eugene Thomas, Ms. Doris Pettaway, Anita Coleman, Ms. Donna Lee, Ms. Helen Stewart, Ms. Merlin Howard. And myself, my name is Doris Pettaway. We are concerned about the extreme water bill, and of course we want to be annexed to the city. And we need your help. We really desperately need it, because we have some citizens here, their water bill has never gone up to $100, especially one person in the house. Ms. Hall, Ms. Helen, and different ones that senior citizen, and their, water bill is extreme. So we need help from the, you all to lead us to which way we should go on this.
Thank you for coming forward. On yesterday, Attorney Jones and I rode out to Brook Lane to see how we need to move forward with it. Attorney Jones will be getting back with me on tomorrow. And I do have your information. I will definitely forward you the information that you need to start the process of being annexed into the city of Selma. But Attorney Jones and I, we did ride out yesterday in your area.
Okay, Ms. Leah Spencer, she has some comments about, to be able to speak on the comments about the annex.
Okay, well, basically, yes, you, but what we could do also too, if you would like to just arrange a time where maybe some of the council member, Councilman Johnson, whoever would like to come out and talk with about annexing into the city, and we would also have Attorney Jones out there to also have.
Would you please explain to us what happened
What happened, what you mean?
with the water bill, extreme water bill?
We don't know.
Well, what happened, I tried to explain, best I could when y'all came before the board.
Right.
The city is divided into certain areas. And right there, I think at Beach Creek Church, is Beach Island Church, the city line stops right there. Anything after that is considered a county. That's just like even right there at Walmart, at the department, some part out behind Walmart, you would think they'd be part of the city, but that's county. The people that live in the apartments out there have to go to a county school. You would think they can go right here in the city school.
Right.
So what happened was some kind of way it got mixed up, and the people in the county were paying city rates. And we was able to catch the error that was done, and we had to correct it because it wasn't fair that the county is getting the same rate as the city, but the county is not paying the same amount of taxes and things like that. So what we did, we just made the correction on it, and then what they did made the rates go. But it's very simple. It was like Mr. President said, once we get with the attorney, we would annex you all. Because as I was growing up, I always thought that you all was part of the city, but it's not. So, but it's just as simple as getting annexed into the city. But again, this is just a procedure we got to go through, and all that will be changed over, and also the same thing is going on. I think we had someone came, your church pastor also came before us, and he got annexed into the city, and that was going down 22, past Spectrum, cable.
Yes.
So right now, I'm not sure, have you been annexed already?
No, I'm still waiting on the attorney that I would love to have on staff.
Okay, so basically, it's gonna take a minute, but it will be done. Just gotta get it done legally. That way y'all will be part of the city, vote in the city and get all the city, everything that needs to be done that we get, that you will be getting the same as well.
Okay, approximately how long?
Basically, Mrs. Podet, what you may do is start the process to get a petition of everyone in Brooklyn.
We have that already.
You do
We
have it?
already have
Okay. Can we get a copy of it?
Oh, yes.
I think I seen Councilwoman Youngblood, and I think I seen Councilwoman.
My question is answered. I was just wondering where it was, where this,
Yes, we're gonna pass the F Club down the little community to your right, we should pass Beach Island Church.
Right,
to the right.
Oh,
Before
okay.
you get to that kind of research center, if you go past that, you're gonna pass it.
Mr.
I
President,
think it's 2 miles past Beach Island Church.
I think we need
Oh,
to load up
no,
on the
it's
van and
it's
say.
not that far, about 100 yards,
Yeah.
if it's
We need-
100
The
yards.
council needs to load up
driving
on
it,
the
they
van
could.
and take a field trip.
Yeah, it's really a nice, beautiful community to your right, it's really not that far past Beach Island. And I doubt 100 yards past Beach
Well,
Island.
I mean, and look at what's between it, and all that stuff, because that's.
Because I know it's a swamp,
It's just like a little lake.
It's called
a
lake.
small
Pond
little,
out
yeah,
there.
pond, right there, man. It's a little pond, right, that's what little pond street.
Yeah, my cousin lives out there, I know where it is. So they have some Elks Club, some land, and then.
Right.
Councilman Randolph?
Well, I just want to say, I applaud y'all for wanting to be a part of the city. Make me feel good.
Me
Oh,
too.
yeah, no
It does
doubt.
me too.
That's right.
And I hope,
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that the council and the attorney expedite this. this don't need to be going on.
That's right, I agree.
Right,
I agree.
I'm telling you, we need to know a decision by the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Cause everybody agree, matter of fact, it don't take everybody to agree out there, just take a majority of the people out there.
That's right.
So you might have some people say, well, we don't wanna do it, but, the majority of the community voted to annex in, we said should be a quick process.
Yes, but it's not. All right, Mr. President, if you can you look into it as soon as possible?
That's what I said.
Submit the
That
petition-
situation is different
submit
than
the
for this
petition
one.
to the state legislature and let them deal with it, and then it will have to be a vote of the people out there.
So we have to get an attorney?
No, we're working, we have our own time. Okay.
When residents are involved, Ms. Poland, it's a different process than what they were referring to that I was going through. There is a business where there are no residents required or requesting to be annexed in. So the process is different where residents are concerned, it's a little bit different.
Because the zoning, I'm pretty sure the zoning also, zoning so forth.
All right. Do you have that, the petition?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think it would be a done deal once the petition has been submitted to Prince Chestnut and Senator 48, knowing that the senator, the majority of the people wishing to be annexed into the city. However, it will have to be a legislative act to make it a vote of the people. Because there may be some that may not want to be annexed. So it will have to be done by vote of the majority of the people.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Any other questions? That's petition. Any other questions?
No, that's all.
All right.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Ms.
Poland.
Focus. All right. Next, we have returned 5 rows to Ray. Mr. Ray? Mr. Ray, okay, all right. Mr. Gamble, marriage report.
Is that me?
That's you, sir. Mayor Gamble, good to see you again.
Well, obviously, I'm not the mayor, but you all have been through this before, we discussed it. It's a resolution, it's part of the St. James package, it's necessary to get the tax abatement to make it work. And it had to go to the public hearing, so we put it off until now. And Mr. Lewis is here if anybody has any additional questions, but it's a resolution that basically attaches to it the public notice and the proposed agreement, which is in essence the agreement for the tax abatement. So I don't want to belabor that because I know you studied it yesterday at your work session. We talked about it 3 weeks ago, and it's already been discussed tonight. But we can, Mr. Lewis is here if there are further questions.
Mr. Lewis, would you like to make any questions? Any questions?
No, I just want to say I got an opportunity to come to the Redmond Hotel in Birmingham.
Yes, sir.
And I really was overwhelmed by how beautiful and how nice it is. So if you're gonna put St. James in a county like that in Ward 8, I'd be very happy. So, and I truly believe once this gets going, Ward 8 and Ward Avenue is gonna start picking up. We really believe this is gonna make a difference. Not only that, I mean, we can't have it both ways. We were losing money in it. We have a lot of people saying that we don't need to be in hotel business. But right now, we just, I think it's for the best. And I want to thank you for one of the best that you said.
Councilman Sure.
Mr. Lewis, I too want to thank you for having the interest in our city. I want to thank you for all the investment that you're going to do. I thank the St. James, and I too had an opportunity to tour Red Mountain. You guys did an awesome job up there, and I'm sure there will be no lacking down here in Selma. So I'm just wishing you well, and I know you're going to do well. Just keep moving forward, and let's get the hotel open.
Councilman Bowling.
Mr. Lewis, obviously, it's been, I guess, over 2 years, I think, since we first met on the street corner out there when you were looking at one of the other properties in our fair city. And I appreciate your perseverance to get to this point today, sir, and welcome to the city of Selma. And if you need anything from us, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you any way I can.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Lewis? Okay, at this time, council members, we have a resolution number 128, that's 1819. And also we have an agreement that we have to run a notice of publication. So at this time, do I have a motion on the floor
So moved, Mr.
to
President.
move forward with the resolution as well as the contract agreement with the publication? We're going to vote on both of them simultaneously.
The resolution incorporates the agreement, so.
But I just want to let you know that we do have a publication that was included that we had today. All right, we have resolution number 128, that's 1819. We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Youngblood, second by Councilman Johnson. All right, roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Wood,
No.
Councilman Bowling,
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
No.
Councilman Randolph. No. Councilman LaShaw,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
No.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, all right, the motion passed, 5-4 vote. Councilwoman Jackson.
Mr. Lewis, on behalf of the Selma City Council, we would like to present you with this basket full of things exclusively Selma. G-Mama's cookies and pickled okra, as well as our famous cheese sticks by Joyce, and so many other trinkets. And we thank you for your time and investment here in the city of Selma.
Thank you very much.
All right, now to committee reports, recreation, Councilman.
I don't have, I'm gonna just say ball season started. Again, I want to thank the young men and the gentlemen that got the kids out to do some volunteer paintwork. Please, let's go support our kids in the ballpark. The season is official, I think, got started. And that's all I have for right now. I want to thank all the volunteers that go out and do what they do. And I can't say enough for Recreation Terry Jackson. They overworked, and also Mr. Jerry Barron as well. And I have to throw in Mr. Van Dow as well, but he be out on lawnmowers also. The three is really doing an awesome job trying to get the fields and stuff ready, and plus the volunteers. And thank the county. The county been pitching in as well, trying to help us with the season. And that's all I have to say for now, the recreation department.
All right, Minister Billy?
Nothing, just been busy at work, so I hadn't had a chance to call the meeting, obviously get with Ms. Jackson and Mr. Randolph, so we go ahead and get moving on that and start tackling some of the things that are on that plate. So my apologies for not having a meeting at this point, but we will go ahead and move forward. So we'll be looking for an announcement to come soon.
All right, thank you. Public Safety Committee, we have an SRO, School Resource Officer Agreement, up for a vote tonight. It's a motion on the floor that we move forward with the SRO agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilman LaShaw. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll call. I'm sorry.
Discussion.
Councilman
I brought
Jackson.
in tonight, and, hold on, I've been fumbling through this, but I had a couple of questions. We're currently giving, the school system some funding through, alcohol and cigarettes tax, in addition to the funding that we're giving them for the 20% sales tax. We completed over $545,000 last year. And I just wanted to know, I tried to get this information from the finance department, was unable to retrieve it, but I wanted to know, you know, when did this happen, how long have we been giving it, and what is it utilized for? Because it may be something we can gear toward the SRO contract.
Okay.
Does anyone know?
No, we'll just take it to it.
So do we want to make a vote before we check into, because it's, I mean, I think
Is
the
that a
alcohol.
motion to take?
Time is, go ahead, Councilman.
I think we got a motion on the floor to go ahead and
Yeah.
vote it up and down. I think the information that you're seeking will not prohibit a vote tonight. I think you need to get that information, but I don't think it would be necessary to prolong the vote, Mr. Chair. I think there's this information, the school need to know whether or not we support it, and we need to vote up and down. So there's a motion on the floor, and I call for the vote.
And actually, thank you, Mr. President, but I wasn't finished speaking. I thank you for your remarks, Councilman LaSure. However, I think it'd be ill-advised if we're giving them additional money. No one up here knows why, when it started, or how much has been given. And one line item is over 100,000. We know that it wasn't the 400,000 last year, it was over $545,000 that was given to the council just off that 20%. And so we have additional funding from cigarettes, a cigarette tax and an alcohol tax. And if we don't explore what we're doing in that area, we're just gonna give additional funding. I think it's ill-advised of us to do such. It doesn't say that we don't support them. It's saying that we understand where our money is going and we're allocating it in the correct manner.
Councilwoman Thomas?
You know, once before I asked Ms. Wade, I saw that, but I thought that this funding that you were talking about, that from the cigarettes and alcohol taxes was included in with the yes. Now, this is my understanding, where I had asked a question about that. So I was trying to figure out, since I've been here, how did the money come to the point where it was, I thought it was told me that it came from alcohol and cigarettes.
So actually, based on the information.
Finish, Councilwoman Thomas?
Well, I'm through.
I thought we asked a question, so I was gonna
Okay.
answer it. So based on the information here, it has the ad valorem tax, which equated to about $1.4 million. The sales and use tax that equated to about $568,000. The cigarette tax that equated to $44,479, and the beer tax that equated to $146,000 last year. And it's separate line items. And so for a total of $2.256 million last year. And so I just wanted to know, where were those funds? I think we would be doing our due diligence to see where that $2.256 million that we're giving them, where is that going, how is that being allocated? And we've never asked the question, to my knowledge, what were they paying the private company? I don't know what they were paying the private security company in there, how much of that is going toward this new contract. Have they expended all the funds that they were paying to the private contract toward the SRO contract, and that's why they need additional money, because they're paying more? I mean, none of those questions have been answered. And I just think that when it came to the school board, I wanted to make sure that I looked and determined how much money that we're actually giving them in their all separate line items. I don't know how long we can give them. I don't know if it's 30 years like the sales tax, or if it's the last year, last 20 years. I just think those are things that need to be answered before we move forward on the vote. To continue to give them money.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Well, I had a question, but at the time, but that was us. Isn't it that all of the taxes that she just called out is combined for the school, that they get a percentage of that to add up to? I'm asking you, President Wood, because we've been getting these statements in our monthly report, and it doesn't add up to that. It comes out, that's how they receive this money.
Because I think if my memory serves me correct, I think it's just did about 2 years ago, something like that, because I know the DA's office and other areas in the county also received that cigarette tax and sin tax, yes. All right, Councilman LaSure?
I have no further questions.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion that we table it until she get her answer.
I second that.
Okay.
I mean, we get our answers.
Until we,
Till those questions are answered.
Yeah, until we get
All
her
right.
answer.
Okay, all right, the table always Trump. Go ahead,
I
Councilman.
do want to remind my colleagues that Dr. Williams came before us and pleaded with us to make a decision quick, fast, and in a hurry, so that if this council would, if it would be the pleasure of the council to approve the 5 week, the SROs, then she can begin to start timing their training. In other words, time is of the essence. I think what my colleague is seeking would not prohibit a vote tonight. However, but we will go on the table, and hopefully that she would receive by next council meeting what she's looking for, and therefore the vote can go forward, up or down.
Right.
All right.
We just gave away a lot of money.
And I'm fine with a special session to discuss it if we need it.
Yeah, we can, if we call a special call
If
meeting.
time is of the essence to your point, sir.
Absolutely. We call
We
a special.
just made a motion tonight and passed on the consent agenda that we should get our information of the same business day. So I'll make sure this evening before I go to sleep that I send out an email, and hopefully I can get it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Also, up on the public safety report, I know it has been brought to my attention that I can't confirm or I can't deny one of our employees is acting in the police role. After doing research, Madam Clerk, I hope you make this part of the minutes. After doing research and talking with several law enforcement, only the top-ranked law enforcement in Dallas County can deputize someone. That's the sheriff, number one. Number two, we only have 3 reserve officers that work with the sheriff department. And the 3 reserve officers can only ride with the sheriff department. They have no arrest power. Number 3, if that is true, we're putting the city at a grave liability if any individual who's not APO certified is acting in the role of a police officer. And not only are we putting the city at risk, it could be a felony charge against any individual who is perpetrated as a police officer. So I hope that is not true. It was asked of me to inquire about it, and I went back and did my research, and I see a part of the minutes that I want to admonish anyone who may be acting as the role of a police officer that not only are we putting the city at liability, but also jeopardizing receiving a federal charge. Thank you.
So, President Boone, what you're saying is if there is anybody acting in that capacity, that you would advise them to immediately cease and desist acting in that capacity because they will be
If it's
properly
true.
pursued. Yeah, if there's any validity. Like I said, if there is anyone acting in that capacity, that person, if they are in fact acting in that capacity, cease and desist immediately or face felonious charges for impersonating a police officer, which is completely against the law, as we all know. So hopefully that's not true. Mr. President, I hope that's not true.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we didn't.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I forgot. We moved so quickly. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Randolph to table, second by Councilwoman Youngblood. Roll call to table.
President Bowie?
Yes.
Councilman Bowe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin?
Yes.
Councilman Randolph?
Yes.
Councilman LaShaw?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Community development.
No report, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. Public Works and General Service, Councilman
Mr.
LaShaw.
President, we had a Public Works General Services Committee meeting on the 16th. I do not have scripted minutes, however, the meeting recess, it wasn't adjourned because there will be follow-up information at a follow-up meeting. However, I do want to talk about what we did at the committee meeting. I read an article from the Times Journal by the journalist Kahila.
Brandon Kahila.
What's his name?
Kahila.
I'm not going to read the entire article, but one of the things that stuck out in his article, which he was writing about garbage and trash here in Dallas, Selma, Dallas County, he did say their frustration is understandable. Talking about us, elected officials should feel like it's their duty to improve the city, and it is our duty. But trash is not a government problem, he goes on to state. It's a people's problem. So with that being said, I decided to allow input from the citizens during my committee meeting. I do know during committee meetings you do not allow citizen input. Because I truly believe it is a people's problem, I allow citizen input. And from that meeting, there was some information sharing. There was some, for lack of a better term, some assignment that was dispensed. And we will be following up with those information that we received once we get some of the information. And my colleague is supposed to be looking at the lead, bringing back some information. You know, thank Mr. Brooks for volunteering to research some ways and means that we can garner some resources. I want to thank my colleague, Michael Johnson, for sharing with me about a visit he had down in Florida. And when he got his tab, he saw something that was standing out, SEA. It was a tax that had nothing to do with the food, but it was a tax that was levied against the patrons that would go toward a specific issue in that community. You might elaborate on that, Councilman?
Yeah, actually, I went to the crab shack. My son got married down in Destin, Florida, and we signed an age of 3 of us. And I was going through my bill, and I'm looking, I saw SEA. And I was trying to figure out what is $1.87 from. And down it says C environment something. And I just applaud because it was something that they tacked to, and it did also have, I think I got a picture of it. But anyway, it was something that I think that they charged everybody that come to their restaurant. And I got it right here. It says SEA, it says Safety Environment Activities is an entity created to help protect, preserve, and enhance the Emerald Coast. And my bill was $109.49, but it was SEA was $1.87. So I don't know what percentage of that they charged, but I didn't argue about it at all because it was something that was going to enhance their city. And you got to think about this particular place. There's thousands of people come there a day. They eat at the crab shack because it's right on the beach, you know. So I just thought it was a good thing, and where they moving forward, trying to find ways to keep their city flowing.
And to that mean, we're trying to find ways and means, that is, additional revenues that we don't have, that will bring about a cap on this garbage and trash that we're experiencing. I think some of the discussion was talking about levying a percentage on fast food, because a lot of the garbage and trash is fast food wrappers and people that just discarding fast food containers. But the long and short of it is we will reconvene and we will be coming up with some recommendation that will be forthcoming to the council. Also, there was some discussion about some taxes. Council Lady Susan, you want to bring up that information?
I do. I wanted to bring up 2 things. We have talked a lot, there's been, taxes have taken up a lot of our time in the last couple of years. And we have voted every possible thing that's been brought up about taxes down. We've always talked around ad valorem taxes. And we know, because we brought it up, that Alabama has the United States lowest rate of property taxes. And so we really, it would behoove us at this time to look, because this is a property issue, as well as an environmental issue. The council should really need to look at, in our, the committee opinion, that we get have a joint meeting with our legislative delegation with Representative Chestnut and Senator Fournier about ad valorem taxes. And we need to do this sooner rather than later, because we need to look at, obviously we can't just say, okay, we need this, so we're going up ad valorem taxes. We need to look at what the community will bear, what its valuation, what is places of similar demographics and all that sort of stuff. But I think that that's a recommendation that I think that the council would be well advised to take. Also, it was brought up that and it's been brought up time and again, we had looked into it about, several years ago. And then it's been brought up a few times since. People think, oh, wow, we can just put it back on the water bill, put collecting garbage services back on the water bill. And I wish it were that easy. We all wish it were that easy. But there are some legal hamperings to that. Another thing too is now it's a private company that we contract with, and I don't know how that would affect, if that would change the legal things about it. So it may be that there's a change there, I don't know. But I would like to ask the president if that's something we could talk with our attorneys about. One of the Mr. Gamble's, I know Mr. Bill Gamble seems to know a little bit about that. He mentioned it to me at church Sunday. So I wonder if that's something that we'd be inclined to talk to let them look into. Okay. But anyway, getting back to, those were two things, that came out of that. And so, check into that possibility, and once and for all, that would be fabulous if it would be a viable option. But anyway, I really feel like, Councilman LaShore, that this really is the time for us to go forward with getting with Representative Chestnut and Senator Fortier.
As I said before, there were some assignments that was given out, and I will contact each and every one of you to find out if you have finalized what you were researching. And at that time, we will reconvene our Public Works and General Services meeting to go ahead and just share what we found and bring back a recommendation to this council. Also, Mr. President, while we have the floor, grass is taking over ourselves. We're beginning to look like a third world country. And to say the very least, at least the city easement needs to be cut. And it's getting to a point where those turmoils will not be able to do it. You're gonna need some bush, some factory bush hog. So I don't know if we're gonna have to find a contractor to do this. The city don't have the manpower or the equipment to get it done. I think we as a council need to come up with ways and means of getting it done, because don't know if thinking at one point we did some more leasing, but that was with cleaning the ditches. It requires some grass cutting, but it had nothing to do per se with grass cutting, but it was per se with cleaning ditches. Am I correct, Councilman?
That is correct, but also we can check with the attorney, it can be a public safety issue.
Yeah.
Grass growing and snakes and everything.
And if we can use some more of this money for that, then we can get one contract. And we can identify, each one of us can identify areas that need to be cut, that would be primarily necessary. We want all grass to cut, but as long as the city easements are clear, I think that's the main thing. Because getting to a point now, you come to a four-way stop, you can't even see the car coming because of grass, and that's a safety hazard. So with that being said, Mr. President, once we find out, once the assignment has been shared with me, then I will reconvene the meeting and we'll bring back a recommendation as pertains to the garbage initiative.
Thank you, Councilman Short. Councilwoman Thomas.
Councilman Shaw, I can answer that question for you. I called the league and asked them about it because I told them in some areas in our ward, the grass has really grown out, and it deals with a lot of public safety in the area. And he's supposed to be getting back when he's talking to the Attorney General, talking to them about the AG to find out if we can use, certain things that you can use, sure, but if a situation like we have now that's out of control, that he told me he'd give me an answer tomorrow.
As soon as you get the answer,
I was going to share with all of us, because all of us need it.
Okay.
I want to let Councilman LaShore know that I did follow up with Ms. May Frazier at Alabama League of Municipalities. She said there's no precedent for what we discussed about the additional funding like you had, and like Mr. Brooks requested that we look into. There's currently no law, and she's aware of no precedent set.
We can get it done, let them set the law.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that precedent?
That's good. That's good information. Thank you.
I don't know if she meant it that way, but
Well,
it just hadn't been done
That's
before.
the
well,
interpretation.
we're gonna get it done and let them tell us what it can be done.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation.
All right, thank you. All right, children and families, Councilwoman Jackson.
No report, just God bless you and good night.
All right. Should have hit you, Councilman LaShaw, Councilman Johnson, Southern Youth Ambassador.
Mr. President, we're working on, when I say we, the youth ambassador, we're working on some activities leading up to the summer where we will discuss some fans for the elderly. We're trying to determine ways and means of getting that done. We will be forthcoming.
As far as with the family support, I know those. I'm coming around.
We're going in order. It's a different order.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different one?
Yeah, I'm coming around.
He don't be mad.
Yeah, coming around.
I think I'm mad now.
Yeah. Last night, we also, there was a request from the Everdyke Commissioners that came before the council about a building permit, because I know each year, $5,000 is given to Ward 8 swimming pool. And just want to know what is the pleasure of the council. Councilman Young.
They have done so much for the community, not just for Deacon Swimming Pool, but I know Councilwoman Jackson had mentioned what they did for the employees who were laid off. Councilman Nolan had mentioned some of the other things, the plethora of things they do. They have a program to help people, indigent people, get medicine and pay medical bills. I mean, just so many things they do. How many times have we called on them for just this and that, and they say, okay, countless. So, listen, I would just go ahead right now and say, I make the motion
I'll say.
to give it to them, or I'll even, whatever discretion in money I have, I'll put on it if we need to, but I'll just say, give it to the Everdyke.
I'll say.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Youngblood, second by Councilman Johnson. Okay, roll call.
President Bowie,
Abstain.
Councilman Bowling,
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin,
Yes.
Councilman Randolph,
Yes.
Councilman LaShaw,
I'm gonna abstain simply because I'm Catholic and it will be a conflict of interest.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes, Councilman.
Councilman,
Yes.
All right, thank you, council members. Public buildings, Councilwoman Thomas, I'm not gonna forget you tonight.
You did I just want to move on with the public building. There are three things I want to move on. I want to follow up on the Dallas Academy. Has the work began? Has the man from Mobile, has he, I requested that we be a part of that meeting. President Wood, have you received any information on it? You remember for the Dallas Academy building, the work, they was coming down from Mobile, remember the last meeting, city council meeting, I asked you to email the mayor and requested that we be present.
Oh, yeah.
Now you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, but did you get any information?
I'll have to follow the thing.
You're gonna follow back. But we don't wanna miss, we don't want them to be, came in here and we hadn't, because that's the only way we know where we at. We wanna be able to work together. We wanna move forward on this. It's been too long and it's getting to be hot. We wanna get these air conditioners back in these buildings and we wanna secure our buildings. With the Von Smitterman building, I wanna move forward on that, President Boyd, but before we move forward on that, we need to, as council members, that we need to make sure that our city buildings are, especially the air conditioning units, this time, that it would not happen what happened before. We need to, the Von Smitterman group agreed to give us $10,000, and we're gonna get that, we wanna have that check in place, give her a call. And also we need to have where where is the check? Do the city have a check for,
Insurance.
the insurance check? And we need to have that, and we need to find out from each body that's up here that I wanna do a sheet to say, of your oil lease, will you give a certain amount so we can carry on with it, get these businesses open back up in operation?
Thank you. All right. Anything else, Councilwoman Thomas?
That's it, I just want to put that to.
Okay, I will. I'll follow up tomorrow.
No, my question I just asked, we don't have a sheet, I need to have a sheet.
I need to find out, on tomorrow, have we received the oil lease money for this year?
You haven't heard anything?
No, ma'am. Last time I checked at the last council meeting, we have not received it yet. So about it,
Come by the 17th.
yeah, these come out 17 to 20.
Been come by the 17th the last 20 years.
Yeah, about
Okay,
17.
well, can you please
I checked it in the
find
morning.
out, we need to get these businesses open back up.
Fast.
This summer,
Yes, ma'am.
we have tourists coming into town, and we're in the business to operate, not to stay
Yeah,
closed.
because I know it used to come around 17 through the 20th, somewhere around that one day.
And
And
can I
today's
ask
what, the 23rd? Okay, go
I
ahead.
want, this is off the record, this doesn't have anything to do with the building.
And that's it.
You know, I'm gonna say it, it's business.
It's part of the record.
Well, but this here, everybody reads the paper, you know, where they going. Okay. Well, I want to ask this, have our attorney sent the information that was required from him for April, you know tomorrow is April the 24th. So I would like to know this, after April, yes, Sam, tomorrow is April the 24th. You know, you're aware of what's happening? Okay. So I want to know,
Teaching Councilwoman Thomas.
well, it was, the information was,
Yeah, it's been submitted.
it's been submitted?
Yeah.
So what do we
It's up to the
wait
judge.
to?
It's up
Yes,
to
the
the judge,
result. That's what I'm trying to find out.
It's been submitted. It's up to the judge after he reviewed the information and, he would run the his decision.
Oh, but I'm saying when he said April the 24th.
By.
By April the 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so our attorney has already submitted.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, what are we referring?
What's that now?
What are we referring? What are we talking about?
Well, basically, you know, at the last hearing, I didn't attend, but Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes, I can.
can you just give me an update?
Yeah.
'Cause I
Well, it was a
there.
decision on both parties to put a proposal on, that, you know, what we as the council body is required.
He was lost as to what you were
Oh,
talking
well, you
about.
didn't know what?
No.
You know, we have a million losses.
Also, too,
And the reason why I asked you this was because, you know, I'm a person that drives for workers. I drive very hard for the workers. And I want people to know that, we have 69 employees out there. And 69 people, that we as the 9 bodies that's sitting up here, it's our duty to, find a way. Like, Councilman Youngblood said, that we need to find a way for to get money. And I'm gonna tell you something, citizens don't mind, but they want to know how their money is spent. They do not want this in-house to have a field day anymore. They want to, for everything to get straight, like we need a treasurer. We need to know how our money is spent. And I want these workers to know that none of us have forgot about them. And they are important to us because they help make our city. And I just want you to know that it's time for us to focus on some way of getting these people back to work. Too long is too long.
but also, too, keep in mind, to follow on that, Councilwoman Thomas, the unemployment runs out 6 months. I think it's
This is their end, they're going into this.
I think it's May, and we're at the crossroads now. So we definitely, if you're not gonna continue paying your portion of the unemployment, you're gonna have to come with a definitive answer whether they're fired or non-rehire.
And then another thing too,
Hold on. You're gonna have to come up with that. If that's the case, you're gonna also have to do assessment of vacation time.
Yes.
So when you're looking at the vacation time that you pay, sick leave time.
That's right.
And also part of the unemployment. So if you combine that together, that's a chunk of money.
And this is why I say, what I'm saying is that, we vote on other things about giving money and letting other, I know the city got to run, but we gotta focus. A city can't run without the workers. That's why we're in the dire need we are now with the overgrown and the people coming into town, and you know, you have so many visitors in the holidays. I mean, this summer, it's a lot of people come through here. And I want us to focus. I want us to focus on what we need, what we were here to do. It's our duty to find a way to get some people back to work, or get something going on to get our city back.
Because a lot of times, it's not gonna be as alarming, because a lot of people have found jobs, you have people retired, so the payroll alone is gonna be lesser because people are, you know.
And then you have some people that's into their 20 years, they're trying to hold on. And he's saying, I'm just waiting on y'all, council. When are y'all gonna bring us back? He said, I almost got 20 years. He said, I wanna be able to retire.
Councilwoman Benjamin, and then we're gonna go to the capital equipment.
I want to say something.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I'll piggyback off.
You wanna go before me?
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Go
I don't
ahead.
mind, I don't mind.
Yeah, I agree with you, Councilwoman. I don't think the mayor's gonna bring the employees back. Just me personally, I don't think, you know, the citizen is holding the government body accountable. It started at the head, you know. I'm telling you, I'm being for real with y'all. The mayor got us in this mess. And if you think something else different, you just as crazy as you wanna be. But what I'm saying is, the citizens gonna hold us accountable for all these potholes, all this trash in our city. You know, it hurt my feeling. Me and Councilwoman went to see a lady and her son got killed. Councilwoman car went in a hole so deep,
The back good went up in
and
there.
back up went up in there. On the street in Selma. Councilman Johnson driving his Mercedes and hit a pothole, had to take his car to Montgomery to get fixed. When I hear stuff like that, it burns me up. So I'm telling you, citizens, we gotta do something about this mess. Because it's time out for talking. I'm telling you. I wanted the council to let me go get a lawnmower so I can cut grass in my own ward with one of the city's zero turn. Because it don't make no sense have these zero turn lawnmowers just sitting up and it's not being utilized. You know, but it just don't make any sense. We got to do what we got to do. But like I said, I appreciate everybody up here, but we cannot keep going talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and ain't getting that done. And I tell you this, you know, we need to have a job fair. Somebody need to try to organize a job fair for our employees so they can find them a job. Because y'all know the mayor ain't finna bring these people back. If we sit back here thinking that, he ain't finna bring back. But I tell you this, if we got these zero turn lawnmowers, I've been down here the mayor talking about contract no grass cutting, and we got folk laid off, and we got zero turn lawnmowers that's sitting up here getting dust on them. That's crazy. If you want to get the grass cut the folk, the professional that you sent to the house. Get them folks, let them cut this grass. It don't make no sense we got lawnmowers and the grass not getting cut. I'm telling you, it don't make no sense.
Councilwoman Benjamin, then Councilwoman Young.
I knew you were gonna say what I wanted to say with more further. Thank you, Councilman Randolph. I agree, I totally agree. I'm waiting, as Councilwoman Thomas is, on the verdict from this judge. Thank you, Mr. President, for telling us that our attorney that we had to hire and pay money for, so we was just paying money, in places we don't need to be paying money. But we had to have an attorney because, you know, we got sued. And folks are suing us, and we're suing people, I guess. Everybody's suing everybody. But by April 24th is when the judge said he wanted both sides to draft an order of what they needed things to look like. And so I called the head judge. I was like, what does this mean? Why does the judge do this? And so I called Judge Wiggins, who is the head judge over there in that particular area. And he said sometimes that's what a judge does. He asks both parties to draft an order of what they think the order should look like, should that particular side prevail.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, I texted you something that should definitely go in there. Hopefully he included it in the order, and that is, if we have this treasurer is put back in place, that anyone besides this council attempts to remove her shall be found in contempt of court and arrested. I hope that he included that in the order. I did text that on the day that you told us about it. I did text that to you, to text that to him, because it's time for us to have our treasurer, and it's time for the verdict to be in on our financial stability or instability. It's time for that verdict to be in. I'm with Councilman Randolph. We have employees that know how to cut grass. How do we know they know how to cut grass? That's what they used to do before they were sent home. And so if we're gonna get anybody to do it, and I don't know what the ramifications of unemployment are, how much money you can make or whatever. But I know they know.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months is running out in May. They just said in May, there's a huge decision that has to be made in May. And we have to figure out, if Councilman Randolph is correct, that these people are not coming back to work, then we have to figure out all these payments that we have to make. We have to figure out all those things. And so where's the plan for that? I'd love to see it. I'd love to see how that's going to go. But I am ready for this judge's verdict on this, so that we can, and I hope that the order is drafted in a way that we do not have to go through this clown show again. It's a clown show. I hope that the order is drafted, and I trust Mr. Attorney Siegel that he has drafted it in a way that this will not happen again, Mr. President.
Thank you. Also, I will be putting in your mailbox the Amex statement, how many lawsuits we have pending, and if any lawsuits have been resolved. I will be putting that in your mailbox for you sometime. Councilwoman Youngblood?
Never mind, my question has been answered, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Shaw?
Could you inquire from the mayor, so that at our next council meeting, we can let the public know whether or not we will have a summer youth program?
I emailed him today. Just waiting for.
I think I'm sure need to know.
Yeah, I emailed him today about inquiring about it, and hopefully, he'll get back with me, and we'll go ahead and let the newspaper and everybody.
President Bowie, President Bowie.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman LaShaw.
Yes.
I heard you say you wanted to know that, but you know, there are labor laws, many labor laws for this is the right, Alabama is the right to work state, but there are labor laws that when harmful, a labor person that can be taken action. So
What's your point?
my point was when you just said you wanted to know whether they're going to be able we're going to be able to let the public know if there will be any summer jobs for the summer workers. And that's why I was saying, you want to know. So I'm hoping he comes with the right answer.
Well, hopefully, it's probably we know, because when you have 6 employees laid off, I think it's just a due diligence that we need to let.
But you don't assume anything.
That's what I'm saying, that's why I sent the
You know what
email.
assumptions do.
I'm just gonna assume it's gonna be no, but I don't know
Yeah.
until it knows.
And that's why I sent the email today.
Okay.
All right.
Whether or not the money is available for the summer youth program is a function of the council to say whether or not we're gonna do it. And I think that the consensus up here on last night was no, and I could just very well be mistaken. But whether or not it's going to be the money in the budget for this is going to be available is a function of the council.
Thank you.
And also too, another thing, if the summer program what's to go on, who's gonna supervise? 6 days in Florida, take it on.
Yeah, where are they gonna go work? Well, there's nobody to go work.
Okay, Councilwoman, yeah,
I mean, this, let me just go on and state the obvious here, and I just have to say it, and I have to say it for myself. How, in the name of all things sacred, could we have some summer workers, which is very important, very important, but when we have people who are fixing to lose their unemployment benefits are running out. We are not exactly running over with people having job employee, line up to work things. So how in the name of time could we have summer workers? I mean, that is just beyond the pale. I think we just need to go ahead and say, I move that we just go on and make the statement and let everybody know, let the summer workers know these children need to be going to the Burger King, to the McDonald's, and the Walmart, and wherever else. And need to say, I move that we just say, this year we are going to have to, because of monetary constraints or whatever they are, that we're going to have to table the summer workers' job. If funding be available, if there's funding for anything, it's going to be to bring workers back. I say, these workers, that's my motion.
Sometimes I ask questions that are rhetorical questions. I already know the answer. You still have to involve the executive branch of government, regardless of what we do up here. That was my only point. That was my only point.
I know.
That was my only point. I already know what the answer would be.
Thank you.
But I still think and we would hear and consider with the mayor, certainly his wishes, but I just think that since we are the decisive body up here, as far as to wait, I mean, we don't even know if he'll be able to come to the next meeting or the next meeting. So it's not fair to the children. It's not fair to the workers. At least somebody's got to make a statement to the workers, yes.
Motion on the floor by Yama, second by Jackson, roll call.
I do want to say this, thank you, Councilwoman Pro Tem and Councilwoman Youngblood, because I was thinking to myself, isn't it our function? Yeah. But because you said executive branch, I just left it alone, so I'm glad, and that was going to be something I said, I'm glad we make the motion, and the communication to the mayor's office can be by email, making them aware that there's no funding available.
That's the same email I sent you.
Just change the subject line.
Roll call.
Roll call.
President Bowie,
Yes.
Councilman Bowling,
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Yes, and I will be helping those young people at Ward 4. I have friends who work at restaurants, and I will be helping them find jobs.
Councilman Randolph,
Yes.
Councilman LaShaw,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
All right, Alan, no funding for summer workers, headline. No funding for the summer workers program. All right, Councilman Randolph, Councilman Quinn.
Yeah, I was just want to know, have the new police cars came in yet?
They're not coming.
They not coming?
We got to bid.
They let it expire.
We got to bid.
We let it expire.
I mean,
Carl, watch out.
So I'm
Style
so
will
like that,
expire.
so that's why I'm asking about the police car.
I was told that they got it expired, like, certain was, and then they jacked the price up. I asked questions and that's my answer I got.
This stuff.
And he's sick too,
Who's sick?
the chief, he's sick.
hell, I'm sick.
He's sick, for real, he's on leave, he had some kind of surgery.
Yeah, because I've been hearing some different facts, so that's why I was asking about the cars, because You know, I'm telling you, y'all, the leadership around here sucks.
This is my first time hearing about it, that's what I'm saying.
It's bad, it's bad. We try to get some vehicles for the police department, and somebody, that agreement not go through. Can you find out what happened so we can know?
They said they missed a date or something. And, after they went back, I heard Stiver, the price went up. They took it back up.
How can you miss it?
I don't know. Now, that's what was, I asked them, because they were asking us, and I said, well, we got to hold up. We voted, and they were saying that it was a date they were supposed to have been met with Stiver, and it did. And now Stiver wants to go up more, something like that.
Continue by on Saturday.
And that's what I,
No, I don't have any things said.
well, you know they're gonna tell us, you know, I just asked questions, I ran around the bush, you know me, I
See,
asked.
what disappointed me about this whole situation, y'all see what the fire department went through, Carl, he got security funding for the equipment for months and months ago and never was paid for, you know.
Right.
So it's a trend with this government. I'm telling you, we got to make this government accountable for its action. If we sit back here and don't do nothing, it don't make any sense. We need the police car. And they've been talking about, no, we need the police car. Now we voted to get the police car, now we ain't getting the police car.
Where the police car, Mr. President?
That's what I'm saying. Somebody tell me something.
Well, the chief said, he's out on the medical.
Man, it's
That's how
down.
it is.
I don't think I do much more of this one, but
Yeah.
I don't think I do much more of this one.
But I'm telling you.
I really don't.
We're at the end.
If
I hope so, 'cause I
if this is true, I think Long Lou would have gave us another deal anyway. I just
Well,
feel
can I
that.
say something on that? You know, we were supposed to, we were requesting that he comes back with compare the price. He was supposed to be getting a proposal from them, and he was supposed to come back to the council and let us know what they were offering. Remember, he was here the last time, he never did tell us, he came up, but he never mentioned it. So, that's why everybody, the thing's been quiet.
Ms. Jackson, did you ever hear back from the contact along those regarding the bid? Was he ever able to deliver a bid?
Okay, educational report committee.
Is that me, Mr. President? Well, thank you, council, for making sure that School of Discovery has a venue for their graduation. And I also like to let you know that Mayor Evans went ahead and he paid himself for the Evans building. He went ahead and the check has been already taken over to Ms. Terry Davis. I know, Susan, sometimes you can't stop that man.
Excuse me.
But he went ahead and paid
Do
it.
you mind if I asked if we could pass a discretionary sheet for that, and I will help, but because
I
that
don't
is
mind at all.
public, that's something we've always
Yeah,
done,
always
and
did.
He
I
gave his
will
money
help
back.
pay for that.
Miss Davis, she already has the money. He already paid.
We'll take it.
Hey,
Not George.
did you try to?
And also, I made him aware, he wasn't aware, so we need to make sure they're letting everyone know about the new contract and the funding toward the, one-time event insurance. And so, I told him that I absolutely was going to do the one-time event insurance, since he wouldn't allow me to do that, and he reluctantly, he's probably gonna put it toward our iPad or something. He's not gonna put it toward it, but he refused to allow us to pay for it.
Yeah, so the payment is made, I just wanted to make out because that's part of our agreement with the whole education committee thing, and we're for education, and this is for students in private and public schools, and it's just another dollar out of his pocket, and it just kind of saddened me that he I guess he didn't have to do it to vote, but I guess he was compelled to do it after being contacted from by some people saying, you know what, go ahead and just pay it yourself. And that's what he did. He took the money over to Terry. So I wanted you all to know that it's actually a paid-for venue. Yeah.
Would it be out of order, just to make a motion that as long as he's doing this event in the building that holds his name, that this type of event, that he would not have to come before the council?
Is that a motion?
Let's say this particular event.
This particular
this
event.
Does it every year?
Inspiration, the Alpha Inspirational Achievements Award.
Is that a motion?
It is a motion.
Second, Mr. President.
Roll call.
President Bowie,
Yes.
Councilman Bowling,
Yes.
Councilwoman Youngblood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Benjamin.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph,
Yes?
Councilman LaShaw,
No?
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Anything else, Councilwoman?
Oh, no, sir. Thank you and good night, everyone.
I guess I'm gonna go get my,
Whiskey.
do have one for adjournment.
Please, dear God.
Have a second.
Move.
Ready to eat now.